everybody, my name is Mikoy. Today we're going to be talking about again the physiology of human. So we all know that we as human and as normal human, we experience all forms of feeling. Even if you're no, besides from being if you're a psychopath or someone like that, then usually every single body would experience feelings. They will experience sadness, depression, anger, happiness, all forms in life. And one of the most important thing that have been observed in human in even our great ancestors to have is what we called as the sense of anxiety. If it's in a controlled and safe amount and in like a controlled area, then it's going to really benefit us, and it's work as a productive pressure that's going to push us, and that's going to trigger the flight or fight response in us. That will allow us to first run as fast as we can, or fight as best as we can. And so why does anxiety happens? Now, anxiety happens through the progress in our brain called the amygdala. Amygdala. So you could search that. So it's like a tiny almond-shaped thing that's called the amygdala, and it scans for threat. And in prehistoric time and in prehistoric human and our very ancestors, this helps us to avoid predators. And when we have predators, we would either fight, which is to fight against it for the best as we can, or flight, which is to run as fast as we can. Today, with the modern world, there are modern predators like unfinished emails, social awareness, financial stress, the unknown uncertainty of the future, depression, relationships, etc. That all happen, and that's all triggered by a feeling of anxiety. Now here, what is the physical response of our human? Now when the brain perceives a threat, it floods the body with what's called as adrenaline and cortisol. If you guys don't know what it is, then adrenaline is a form of response in our brain that prepare us for the fight, flight, or freeze response, and also cortisol. And so here, heart rate increases to plump blood to your muscles, breathing quickens to get more oxygen, and digestion shuts down. This causes a feeling of butterflies or nausea because the body thinks digesting lunch isn't a priority during an attack like this, and during when you either have to fight, flight, or freeze. Now here, let's look at the loop between thoughts versus reality. Now anxiety here, if not treated in a safe way and if not handled in a smart way, it's going to create what's called as a feedback loop. Now feedback loop here have three things. First is the trigger, a what if thought happening in your mind. Secondly is the physical tension or racing heart. And lastly, the brain sees the physical tension as proof of something that's actually wrong, which creates more what if thoughts, and which create more anxiety, and which leads to anxiety disorders, etc. And so it's helpful to remember that anxiety is important. Anxiety is information, and anxiety is pretty much useful in our life, but it's not always fact. Just because your body feels like there's an emergency doesn't mean there's one. It's just your internal security guard being a little too protective. And that if you really are facing with anxiety, it's important that you know to handle it. You know how to accept it by yourself. And you know that that's not just your personality. That is something that you can fix. Thank you for listening, and goodbye.